Did you know that organic gardening can increase your own biodiversity by 50%? You listen around, I've got loads of wildlife here, with a hoopoe in the background, might make an appearance in this video, but 50% increase in biodiversity. Now that's got to be a good thing. In this video, we're going to go through the 5 basic principles of organic gardening and how it can not only help our environment, but also our health as well. It's not just about not using harmful chemicals in our spaces or nasty weed killers. There's a lot more to it. And because of that, it makes it more challenging and exciting and ultimately rewarding. That's what we're looking for. And they're very easy to follow. So let's start now with principle number 1. So we need to build ourselves a healthy soil, because without that, the plant isn't going to grow, whether it's your flowers or your vegetables or your fruit trees. Without a healthy soil, it isn't going to grow and produce you the abundance that you're looking for. Now, if you start to use chemicals and artificial fertilizers, you're going to damage your soil, and that's going to bring us on to the second point in just a second. But it begins with the fact that we need to understand our soils and look after it, because it is a living organism. If we look at it like that, then we're well on the way to success. So I hinted just now that using artificial chemicals and fertilizers is not a good thing for our soil health. And that leads us into the next basic principle of organic gardening. It's the obvious one: don't use artificial stuff. Now, I'm not a commercial grower. I grow for myself and my family, and therefore I'm not restricted by the rules and regulations that commercial growers have. So for example, if you're a farmer and you're a vegetable grower that you want to sell in the local market, you have to be certified and you follow your country's rules and regulations. And they differ from country to country. In some countries, certain chemicals and pesticides are allowed, but in others, they're not. But for the purposes of this video, this channel, we are only looking at and talking to people who are amateurs, and therefore the 5 principles that we're going through now stick, whereas commercial growers don't have to follow them. It's crazy, I know, but we don't use chemicals here. I encourage you not to either. We've touched at the beginning here about the soil health, but we also need to look at another part of the soil, and that's maintaining it. So for example, we want to avoid creating compaction by using heavy machinery. And then we need to look at the ideas of adopting certain plants to grow to be able to penetrate down into that soil. If, for example, you have got compaction, to break that up, to allow plants to bring up the nutrients that are well below in the ground for us to get that abundance that we're looking for. Tied in with the soil health is the ability for us to be able to increase our biodiversity, because from the ground right up to the top of that plant, there's a myriad of animals out there that all interact with one another. They all depend on one another to be able to survive and reproduce. And by increasing our biodiversity, which we can do by 50% if we follow these principles, and if we can achieve that, then everything's working in balance. All the organisms in the soil or in our composts and the plants, you're going to get a healthier plant, healthier animals, and they all interlink with one another, and we end up with fantastic results. Finally, we get to number 5, and that's our ability to be able to use our resources in a responsible way. Now that can be, for example, collecting rainwater from our rooftops. Sorry about the cockerel in the background. He's organic as well, so don't worry. We might want to look at the idea of sharing our tools. Another part of that is sharing our knowledge, and that's exactly what this channel is all about. I am an organic master gardener, and the Master Gardening Program is all about sharing our knowledge and our information. Now you can help us with that by interacting with us and sharing our videos to other people. Sends it out to a wider audience, and therefore the message spreads. The channel itself has a load of videos on it about how I've been able to transform this space from a desolate, barren, old farmland into what we've got now. I've had the ability to be able to produce over 500 kilos of produce from our growing spaces last season, and this year I'm hoping to do more. And I've done that by regenerating the soil, and also I've used absolutely no chemicals whatsoever. But now I've regenerated my growing space, now it's time to really focus and drill down onto the ideas of organic growing, which I hope you're going to follow. This is quite a short video for me. you've got the 5 basic principles of organic growing. Great. Now, as the season progresses, I will touch on each of those principles as and when the opportunity arises. So, for example, looking at using resources, if I'm going to be sowing seeds, I want to be putting them into containers that I know I can reuse time and time again, rather than using cheap plastic single-use containers that end up being thrown into landfill. Another option, like I say, is to expand the idea of harvesting the rainwater, or the many videos I've got about making our own compost and how we use it. Then there's pest management. I've got recipes on how to make organic pest control remedies if you need to do so, if you have a mad infestation of something. But again, with that increase in biodiversity, the use of those, even if they are organic, is going to be minimal. We've had an infestation here of black flies, and they were taken out by crane flies because of the increase in biodiversity. So there's so many opportunities available to us all that we can adopt. Now, I firmly believe that there isn't one single gardening or growing method that is the best, because if it was, we would all be doing it. But let's just take this principle of organic growing as an amateur gardener, not as a commercial one, so you can do away with all the rules and regulations and the paperwork, just so you can concentrate more on what you want to do. And we use that, but we take some other inspiration from other theories out there. For example, minimal soil disturbance is a very good example, where probably about 75% of our growing activities here is based around the no-dig or no-till principles. So if you'd like to join us on the channel by clicking the logo in the right-hand corner of your screen, I really look forward to seeing you. There's lots of videos on the channel for you to use as a free resource. Or if you prefer and you want to ask me a question, leave it in the comments section down below. And if you'd like to learn more about our growing space here, here's a video for you to watch, and it's all about the latest tour that I did, which is about 3 weeks ago now. We're coming towards the end of May. So for now, take care, and I'll catch you next time.